My name is Mike. I own and operate a landscape maintenance company. In 2023, we did $2.3 million. In 2024, we also did $2.3 million. I should mention that I live remotely away from my company, and one of my employees is due up. She's an office manager, and she's due up for a pay raise. And she's asking a pretty steep amount of money at about just a little under $100,000 a year plus another $10,000 in benefits. And I would like to know your opinion on someone that makes that type of salary in an office manager role. What would your expectations be for that person?
It sounds like she's running the business for you.
She runs the administrative office side. I am remote, and I am involved daily with decision making and stuff like that. And we have another gentleman who is involved with. He gets the work done. He's the production manager and in charge of producing the work and managing the guys and things like that. She handles the sales and marketing. Well, less marketing, but sales and administrative.
Okay. Well, the baseline for a comp or for a comp plan is not what you want. The baseline is what can I be replaced for? And then we start from there, okay? So what would it take to replace her?
I would be in the world of between 80 and probably 120. It's a pretty big range, obviously, based on
where did you get that number?
In the industry. Where did I get that number? Out of my butt.
The classic line around here. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you need to find better research technique. So jump on monster.com and maybe ZipRecruiter and some other places and pull some of their comp comparison tools. They're not hard to use. We do comp research on positions around here all the time because we want to know what the marketplace is. The marketplace might be 150 for this position. It might be 75 for this position. I don't know. I can't tell. Based on what you're saying, it doesn't sound like she's outrageously high at 100. But I don't. I'm like you. I don't have a solid source of data that I'm pulling that from. So
can I throw in a minor caveat? She would like to work from home when her kids are off at school, including during our busy season of the summer break with the kids. She does manage a sales position under her.
That's a different issue. That's a philosophy issue of if your people in the office work from home. We work from work. And so if this was Ramsey, the answer is no. But it has nothing to do with the comp package. That's a different issue. We just don't do that. Now, if you have you work remote, so we know some people work remote because you do. But, can she get her job done to your satisfaction remotely? But I think the way you're stacking these pieces of information, it's like she was doing okay, but she's not doing 100,000 plus 10,000 plus work from home okay. I think that's what I was hearing.
She made 85 last year, so coming up with a $15,000 increase I felt was a bit much.
Well, where did she get that? Out of her butt.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like there's a pattern here. So, okay, when I sit down with folks here, or when we sit down, when we sit down with anyone here, we're looking at the baseline being the market value of this position. If we have to replace you, is X. Okay, if that's 85,000, based on comp research with outside data sources, which is not a big expensive thing to go do. You can go do it tonight on the computer, okay? But based on that, if 85 and then they want 100, then I got to figure out why that person is worth more than $15,000 extra beyond what I can replace them for, okay? Now, they might be. And I'll give you one thing that we take into consideration. Like I keep saying, the baseline is what market value is to replace them. But how long has she been there?
9 years.
Okay, so she's got a real depth of knowledge of your business, knowledge of your growth, relationships with customers, relationships with the team, and that cannot be replaced. So she is worth more than the baseline because of these quality relationships, assuming they're all positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, my personal assistant has been with me 23 years, Patty. And Patty's depth of knowledge of being able to complete my sentences, she sends me emails that say stuff like, "You don't want to meet with this guy, do you?" Meaning she's telling me not to because she thinks, based on our 23 years of experience, this guy's not a guy I'm going to meet with. She already knows. She's just checking to be 100% sure. So that is different than if I had to train a brand new assistant who didn't even recognize the guy's name. But Patty's seen him 10 times in 23 years, so she knows the guy, right? Or knows, you see what I'm doing? So that has a value beyond market value, beyond replacement value. But we start with replacement value and say, okay, why would they be worth more than replacement value? They're certainly not worth double replacement value, because for double, I could put up with a lot of pain. But we're not talking about double. We're talking about 15% here.
Do you feel somebody in that $100,000 range, is there a quantity of hours per week that you would kind of reasonably expect, or is it still a 40 and get out the door?
I'm not looking for anyone that is doing either. I don't want them to have an hourly, how little work can I do for how much money I can do mindset. I don't want them to have a JOB mindset. I want them to have an ownership mindset. And then if I get the job done and everything's under control, I'm booking. We're going out to dinner tonight. Okay. But if there's a problem and I got to stay and get the problem fixed because I act like an owner, and that takes me to a certain number of hours, well, whoopee, get the freaking job done. So I would expect her to have an owner mentality, regardless if that resulted in 30 hours or 45 hours in a given week. And I suspect, based on having run businesses, and you have too, that it might vary. Some weeks you might be done in 30, and some weeks you might be done in 60. So, right? in the middle of grass cutting season, she's going to be in 30s, not going to do it.
Sure, absolutely.
But, when things are slow and she wants to go home and make the kids dance recital at 4, or the grandkids dance recital or whatever at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so what? Head out. I don't care. I don't want people punch clock mentality anywhere in any of my organizations. I want them to have an ownership mentality. And that's what I demand of her is the work done? Is it done with excellence? Or did you drop the ball because you just headed home and didn't want to work anymore? That's not cool. If I'm paying somebody $100,000 and if I'm paying them to lead and run my business. And so I think that's some stuff you've got to reset, because I think she started with an hourly mentality and now she's looking at how much she can get rather than how much she can give. And you're feeling like, well, she's coming in and holding me hostage here. And I don't get held hostage. I just say hit the door. You start coming and telling me what you're going to do at my business, then you don't get to stay, because that's a confused position. So, but I didn't hear that kind of belligerence from her, but she's the one brought all this up, not you. So anyway, dig up your comp, sit down, talk to her, say, here's what I think you make a trip into the office. This is an in-person conversation. You're very important to this organization. Your history here, your experience, your relationships with the team, your relationships with the vendors, your relationships with the sales team and with the clients is very important. Here's some data, hand it to her in person, that says that this position is worth $75,000. I'm willing to go and get you way above 75, but that's what I can buy in this market. I can buy, or this position's worth 120, and so your 100's wrong. I'm going to go ahead and bump you to 110, and because I really want you in this role. But here's what I'm going to require: not figuring out how little you can work, figure out how much work you have to do as an owner mentality to get all the work done. And instead of figuring out how little I can work and how much I can work from home. Because honestly, if you start looking at the research that's coming back on work from home, it's coming in more and more every day, that what it means is I'm not working when I'm at home. It means I'm doing something else when I'm at home. That's why I wanted to be at home instead of working. So, I mean, I want to spend more time with my children. How are you spending time with your children? You're supposed to be working. That's stupid. I mean, what you're telling me is you're not working. That's okay if that's okay, but it's not okay.